Hello and welcome to Supposedly Fun. My name is Greg.
I'm Joel.
And you all know Teddy. I don't think Teddy is going to hang around long. It's hot today. So he probably won't really want to be hanging out here. But we'll see how long we have him.
And he's actually a little extra fluffy because we missed a haircut appointment.
Yeah.
So we need to try to figure out how to get that taken care of. So
the perils of getting stuck in New York an extra week.
But he's so cute when he's fluffy.
He is cute when he's fluffy.
Yes,
but it's
so hot.
Not good with the heat.
No.
What are we doing here today?
We are doing our best books of the year so far.
Yeah, it's exciting.
We're a little late. We usually do this at the end of June.
Yeah.
So here we are. And
at long last.
I have some really good books.
Yeah, it's been a good reading year so far.
I'm excited.
I even went all the way into the month of May before I read a book that I didn't like.
Yeah.
So I had a really good run, and it's hard picking 10. So we're going to do 10. We're going to do our nonfiction favorite first, and then we'll do our 10 fiction favorites. And it was hard, and it's very competitive in my top 3 especially.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here.
A lot of things happening here. So, shall we dive in?
And sorry we're getting to this late. I will say, because we're doing it a little late, I had a debate with myself. Should I include something that I read in the month of July, or should I really only let it be the first 6 months? And the point is, it's the best books of the year so far. So at the point I'm filming this, I've read. So I included something that I've read in
July. And I've had a horrible July, so there's no thing for me.
Yeah, that wasn't even an option. Yeah. So, yeah, but we'll also have links to all of these books in the description box down below. Links to the t-shirts that you're seeing as well.
Baseball shirt.
Yeah, we're so excited to have that. I'm so excited to have happy reading. All right, nonfiction. You want to go first or second?
I can go first.
Okay.
32 Yolks by Eric Ripert.
I really need to read that in the second half of the year. I really want you to.
Yeah. Eric Ripert is a Michelin-starred chef in New York City.
And a silver fox.
Yeah. Cotty. Super nice guy. I don't really know a whole lot about him. Mm-hmm. And I just thought this sounded like a fun book. And it was actually very intense. It reminded me a lot of me going through culinary school. Not to his level, but going through culinary school and dealing with hard old school chefs back in the day that they feel you're going to get more out of you by screaming, demeaning you, Gordon Ramsay style. And I just don't feel that's the way to go. And I think he kind of broke that mold. Yeah. And it's just like, no, understand we've all made mistakes, but I think by reading his book, he sounds like a super fair chef. And I absolutely love this book. If you do like cooking or reading, a little Kitchen Confidential of knowing about coming up through the ranks, really great book. This all takes place from him being a child up to when he caught the boat over to America. Yeah. So fascinating book.
Yeah, and I love Kitchen Confidential as well. It's actually one of my favorite nonfiction books, even though I'm not a huge Anthony Bourdain fan. And it is interesting because Kitchen Confidential, I think, talks about traditionally toxic masculine environments in kitchens and sort of takes it at face value. Like, this is what you have to deal with if you're in a kitchen. So it is interesting to hear about somebody who wrote a book saying, like, it doesn't actually have to be that way.
Yeah.
So, and that's not a judgment call on Anthony Bourdain. It's just saying a different approach to it. So my favorite nonfiction book of the year so far is something Joel had been telling me to read since the day I met him, pretty much. It's Endurance by Alfred Lansing, Shackleton's Incredible Voyage. So this is about the Endurance expedition where Shackleton led a group of men trying to get to the South Pole, was it? Yes. So they were trying to get to the South Pole and they get stuck in the ice. And from there, it's a story of survival. And it is a story of leadership for Shackleton and how he kept a spirit of optimism going and wouldn't let the men get down.
I think it's a story of willpower and not giving up.
Yes, refusing to give up.
Refusing. Because out of all the men on his boat, nobody died.
Yeah, and that is sort of one of the big legacies. And honestly, it's incredible that nobody died. And I knew that going into this book, and it was still very suspenseful. I was just, as we had dinner right before we filmed, and I was telling Joel that I was listening to the audio of this book, and I was so stressed but I was like, I need to finish this book. I need to know what happens, even though I knew what happened. So he was traveling, so I just decided I'm going to organize my t-shirts and listen to the book. And I was so stressed the whole time. Like, the stuff that they survive, how they survive, and what they get through, they're stuck in the ice for over a year. And
almost 2 years.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Excuse me, I have a cough.
Yeah, sorry. And I've just gotten over a cold. He's still, like, in the tail end. I think Teddy really wants that. So I'm going to let him go. Yeah, so what an incredible nonfiction book. Honestly, this would be really competitive for my favorite book of the year if we were including nonfiction. And what do you want to talk about in relation?
A companion to this is The Ship Beneath the Ice. This is a current day expedition to find the Endurance that sunk. And there is a documentary on it. We think Hulu, but maybe look for it and see what you can find.
Yeah.
Super interesting,
really good
documentary.
Yeah.
And they have some fascinating photos of finding the Endurance under ice.
Yes. And they talk about how it was harder to find the Endurance than it was to even find the Titanic because of where it's located, the search radius, and because you're relying on navigation that just the navigator's report. And actually his report is really accurate. Like, even when they're traveling around trying to find islands, he manages to get them in the right place pretty consistently. But they're relying on where he said the boat sank. So really good. You've read the book.
I read the book.
And loved it.
Yeah.
I haven't read the book yet.
You've
I would like
done the documentary.
to. Yeah. And by the way, there is the Endurance before it sank.
And Greg bought a big poster for me.
I did.
For my birthday.
Well, because for years he's been saying, I would love to get a copy of that for the wall. And so finally, for his birthday this year, I said, I made it happen. So.
All right. Well, those are nonfiction.
Let's get to fiction. Do you want to go first or second?
I will go second.
Okay. All right. So
you caught me off guard.
Yeah, sorry. I felt bad. I didn't think it was that stressful. And I would also shout out The Catcher in the Rye and Small Things Like These. Those are books that I reread this year. They are favorite books of mine, but because I'm not including rereads, they don't count for this. But so shout out to them. The book that is in 10th position for me is The Stand-In Dad by Alex Summers, which you read. I think I liked it a little more than you did. I just had a time with this book. This book to me is like queer joy. And for that reason, I just love it. It was really fun and happy. So you have this guy, David, who works in a flower shop. One day he looks out the window and he sees this woman outside crying. It turns out she was supposed to meet her parents at this flower shop to plan for her wedding to the woman she loves. But her parents didn't show up. And the way they respond or tell her in text sounds like they're not going to be involved with the wedding at all. So she's heartbroken. He decides to sort of stand in as a parent and go on all of these wedding things that a parent would usually be there, like picking the wedding dress, tasting cakes, and things like that. And it's about found family, acceptance of yourself as well. And I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a hug of a book, and it made me happy. So
I felt all those things too.
Yeah.
I had some better reads because the idea of chosen family is really important in our community.
Oh yeah.
And thank goodness we both have very supportive parents. Mm-hmm. But if you didn't, I mean, where do you turn sometimes? Yeah. And I know when I first came out, I depended on my family in Seattle, and to this day, they are still my chosen family and the people I love and care for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. And, it does talk a little bit about relationships with parents, because David had been rejected by his parents after he came out and did not have a relationship with them. They are now passed on, so there's no hope of a relationship with them anymore. So he doesn't want what happened to him to happen to Hannah. But yeah, so it's about, that's why it's also about self-acceptance, because you have to stand up for yourself and what you know is true. But it also is about the difference between family and how it's hard to erase those ties, because people kind of expect you to have ties to your blood family and then chosen family as something that can replace and be even more powerful than that. So I liked that a lot.
And there is a true, real stand-in dad scenario. There's an organization where they have people that will come help you if you're alone, gay, alone, and trying to get through a marriage and everything. Yeah. And it's just a beautiful idea.
Yeah, it is. So what is your number 10?
My next one is 3 Days in June by Ann Tyler.
That is a cute book. I liked that.
Yeah, I read it on your recommendation. If you like a good, complicated family story, Ann Tyler is your woman.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a really fun read. Basically, she documented her 3 days in June and the troubles she was having with her marriage. And it was just it's enlightening. And
it's sweet. An older woman. Her daughter is getting married during those 3 days. And her ex-husband comes back and ends up staying with her. So it's like a very chaotic 3 days. And, the ending of this book is actually one of my favorite endings of a book this year. Yeah, I think really made my heart sing.
And I think the ending is why it hit me so well, because it's like, why is she putting up with him?
Yeah, and then Ann Tyler will sneak up on you, and she definitely snuck up on me.
Yeah, and it was a good book. I liked it. So yeah, I highly recommend. It's a tiny little guy, so fun book for a read.
Yeah. All right, my 9th place so far in 2025 was Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. This is sort of a sequel, sort of a prequel to Tommy Orange's debut, which was which was a collection of linked stories about Indigenous people in the modern day living in Oakland. And all of the stories sort of led to a powwow that had I don't want to spoil the end of that book, but a very big tragic event happens at the powwow. So Wandering Stars selects a family from one of those stories, and it opens with a couple of generations of that family's history, telling the stories of people who were ancestors of the family that you knew, and they're there. And leading up to the present, and then when it gets to the present, it tells the story of what happened after for this family. And it is really astonishing to me how Tommy Orange manages to pull that off. It feels like the beginning should not connect to the rest of the book in such a beautiful and thematic way, but he really does pull it off in a kind of staggering and very profound way. If I had been in charge of the Pulitzer Prize this year, it would have been a finalist for me, for sure. So he would have been 2 for 2 as a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. Yeah, it's just a beautiful book, and I'm so glad that I caught up to it this year, because it came out last year, and just really good. Can't wait to see what Tommy Orange does next, because he is a definite talent out there.
Nice.
What is your 9th place?
My next one was The Lilac People by
Milo Todd.
Milo Todd. I spelled that wrong.
Uh-oh.
What is this?
You gotta fix your spreadsheet.
By Milo Todd. It was set in Berlin, and transgender people fighting to not go into camps, not being killed, and trying to just move on with their lives. What's that movie I like really well?
The Devil Wears Prada. No.
True.
Yeah.
With the concentration camps and being queer.
I haven't seen it still.
Bent.
Is that it?
Yeah. Bent.
Okay, yeah.
With
is it Lee Pace?
Pace, I think. And
I want to say Clive Owen, but I don't think. Is it? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Really I haven't seen sad movie, but a beautiful movie. So you're going through the lives of these people who are transgender. One is not. And it does have a very intense chapter on rape. Mm-hmm. So there's a trigger warning there. But it's how they got by and how they suffered loss of their friends and getting to America and moving on and trying to get their lives back together. It's actually a beautiful book.
And I really want to catch up to it in the second half of 2025.
Yeah, I hope you do, because I'd like to discuss it more.
Yeah, and I know there are people who subscribe who commented in the month of June and said that they read it and really liked it as well. Nice. So it doesn't just have, it has your endorsement and a bunch of others. So yeah. All right, we're at number 8. Now this is where a book kind of swung in at the last minute for me, because when we were coming back from New York at long last, a week later than we were supposed to, I read 2 books on the plane, because day 1 we ended up stuck in Minneapolis. Day 2 we got from Minneapolis back to Montana, and while we were on day 2 I started Forbidden Notebook by Alphabetically and translated by Anne Goldstein. So if we had done our best books of the year at the time we usually do, this would not have been on here. And this one kind of came in at the last minute, and it pushed Isaac's Song by Daniel Blake out of my top 10. But here it is. I had been wanting to read this book for a long time, and it really paid off. This was published a long time ago in Italy. I want to say like 1954. But let's see. Copyright. It doesn't say. The author died in 1997. And it only talks about the translation copyright, which is 2023. But I think this was published in the 1950s in Italy. And it's set in the 1950s in Italy. And you have a woman who, spur of the moment, buys a notebook in a store, and she starts keeping a diary about her life. And as she's writing in this diary, she starts to think about the things that are available and not available to her, the structure of the family and who it benefits, and how she's doing a lot of the work to take care of everybody and doesn't really get a break, and starts to become dissatisfied with her life. And it's interesting because in a way, throughout the book, she'll resent the diary, because she feels like, I was fine before I started writing in this diary. It's only writing this diary that made me start thinking about these things. But I think we can all agree that's probably not true. She probably was unsatisfied, but it probably did cause an extra layer of interrogation and introspection. And it's a fascinating book about what a woman's life was like in the mid-century, and not just in Italy, but over here, and how she doesn't even have space in her home. Like, one of the ongoing themes is that she has to keep re-hiding the journal because she doesn't have any space in the apartment that is her own. There's nowhere that is just for her. Other people are invading every other part of the house. So it's a really beautiful book, and I did peek after my last Friday reads. There are 2 other books by Alphabetically that have been translated into English, and I kind of want to track both of them down, because she is described as a very feminist writer, and I'm just very curious to see what else she wrote in her lifetime. So I really loved this book and would highly recommend it. And there it is at number 8 on my list so far.
Sweet. My number 8 is The Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey.
Yeah. Another one I really need to catch up
Yeah,
to.
I would like to. The people at Montana Book Company told me about this, and they said everybody loves it. And as I was reading it, I wasn't too sure.
Yeah.
But I got halfway through, and it's like, I love this book. It's about a father who has 3 children. They live on this island that they are protecting. It has seeds of different plants that they're protecting. And the water's beginning to rise, so they have to evacuate the island. Well, a mysterious woman is washed up on shore from somewhere, and she's on the island with them, and there's this mystery of who she is and what they're doing. And I don't want to get more into it, but the mystery gets a little darker and deeper as they start talking about what's happening on the island. And it's a real thing. It's nothing weird. I loved how the father loved his children. I think that's what really sold me on the book, is he was a dedicated father. He loved his 3 children, who were all super different. And he just cared for them, and their safety and their lives and their concerns were his number one goal for everything. So I thought it was a beautiful story on family, I thought it was a nice little mystery story, and it just had a lot of good things that came together, and I loved it.
Yeah. It was interesting to follow along as you were reading the book, because he really wasn't sure he liked it for the first maybe 25%.
Yeah.
I think either you were thinking about DNFing it, or I kept saying, like, maybe you should just leave it alone. But you kept with it, and then somewhere toward the end, you said, I love this book. And I was like, oh, what book are you reading now? Because I didn't think it was the same one. So it was a really interesting progression, and I need to catch up to it.
And I have a really hard time DNFing a book, because I've had so many that I wanted to, and when I kind of skim through it, it's like, oh, okay, this is where it went, and I liked it. So, but I will hang in there and see how it goes. So
yeah, and I am usually more likely to DNF, but this year I've been having a hard time. I think that part of why I'm having a hard time is that I had such a good run from January through May.
Yeah.
That now I feel like I need to finish everything, and I don't know. I feel like the later it gets in the year, the harder it is to DNF something for the first time. So, but I need to get over that.
You have not thrown a book across the room yet.
I have not. Yeah,
no. So we still got time.
Yeah, there's still time. There are plenty of months and weeks left in the year. How many shopping days till Christmas? I don't know. So, let's go to number 7. For me, number 7 is Blackwater Lightship by Colm Tóibín. I finally read a Colm Tóibín book in 2025 and really liked it. Originally, I had put this book higher when I finished it, because I really did like this book. And I think there have been a couple of books that I was on a big emotional high with when I finished, and then had to sort of let things settle a bit before, so I could kind of determine. That happened with this. But I really loved this book. So it showing up at number 7 is a bit of a surprise. We haven't watched the adaptation of this yet with Angela Lansbury, and we do need to do that at some point. So this is a book about a family. There's a sister who finds out that her brother is dying of AIDS in the 90s. And she tells her mother and her grandmother. And even though the 3 of these women have a very difficult, strained, and estranged relationship, they decide to sort of come together to take care of this woman's brother in his final days. And so they pick him up at the hospital, they take him to the grandmother's house. And it's about these 3 women caring for him. But the part that I was unprepared for is that 2 of his friends also come. So there's also an interesting dynamic between how each of the women react to the presence of these gay men who have been caring for their son, who knew what he was going through before it started to get close to the end. And, you know, the grandmother kind of surprisingly loves having these gay men around and gets one of them to teach her to drive and all of that stuff. So the mother is sort of resentful, and it's really interesting. And it is a book about caretaking for someone, but it's a beautiful family story. It's just
chosen
really
family
good. Chosen family as well, because these friends are obviously his chosen family. They're the people who have been there for him and who actually know how to care for him. Like, as much as the mother might want to take control when something goes south and he's not feeling well, she doesn't actually know what to do. So these other men are really crucial to this process as well. And it's important for the mother not to kick them out, because they kind of need them. And I think that's such a really smart balance, and just a really beautiful book. And I can't wait to read more Colm Tóibín in the future.
I didn't realize that was a movie.
I think we had talked about it when I first read it, and then that was feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, I know,
because so much has happened since.
I know.
Yeah.
We should actually look for it. Put it in our queue.
It's on Hallmark.
Oh,
yeah.
do we have Hallmark?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. All right, number 7.
My next one, I love this book.
And I really liked this book too. It just didn't make it into my top 10.
Tartufo by Kira Jane Buxton. It's of an Italian village that is just falling apart and dying economically. And the truffle hunter finds this massive truffle that's going to save the town.
Yeah.
And if you like Frederick Bachman books, which I love. You guys know I love him. If you read Anxious People, the characters in Anxious People are like the characters in this town. They're just like crazy, and everybody's different, and it's wild. It's a chaotic all through and through of this whole story, but it's actually a fun read.
I also called it like an Italian version of Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Because it is sort of like a small town, eccentric people living in a town who maybe will argue with each other or have little resentments, but for the most part are there for each other and support each other. And anyway.
Yeah. When it comes down to helping, they're there, but they'll bicker too. So really fun read. Some beautiful food stuff in there too. Not a lot, but a little. Yeah. And it's just fun reading about the truffle, and some of the chapters in here are from the perspective of the dog.
Yeah.
And a bee. And it really brings a totally fun vibe to the book.
It does.
So if you want a good, fun read, it's fairly quick too.
But it does read very quickly.
Yeah, it's a really fun book.
Yeah, I think the only thing that kept it off of my top 10 is that I think the ending gets a little bit madcap. However,
it's a mad world.
Yeah,
madcap.
That kind of madcap, and it didn't harm my enjoyment of the book. But I remember at one point, because you had already read it, I was like, "This is so much. There's so much happening." But it is still a very fun book. So, if you need a little escape from the world, you could do a lot worse than Tartufo.
A little villa in Italy. I mean, how do you not enjoy that?
How do you not? All right, we're moving into number 6.
Wow.
I know. And number 6 for me is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez.
We don't have that one.
We don't have that one. Because we are being, well, you're the big stickler for this. He likes the formats to match. And I get it. So I'm very happy to go along on that ride. So all of Abby Jimenez's other books are in paperback, and this is the first one that came out in hardcover. So we're waiting for
because the girl's getting big.
Yeah, she's blowing up. She's having a moment.
She is.
Well-deserved moment.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That woman could do no wrong.
She has not missed, honestly. I know there's one book you read that I haven't yet.
Yeah.
That you were a little mixed on.
And it was fine. It was good.
Even then, you liked the book.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Say You'll Remember Me.
Beautiful.
It's so good. So, I thought it was... It seems like it might be at the start of a new trilogy, but it was introduced in Just for the Summer, which was the third book in a previous trilogy that she wrote, where all of the stories are kind of connected. And this one has... so, the man and the woman... Xavier is a vet. I don't remember the woman's name.
Sloan.
No, Sloan was
the other one.
The other one. I don't remember her name. But so Xavier and this woman meet. He's a vet, and they, of course, sometimes they'll have like a fiery meeting. Not quite a meet cute, like Friend Zone has the same thing.
Yeah.
Where they meet in this almost confrontational way, but it doesn't feel like a cheesy way that some romances do, where it's like a full-on like enemies to lovers type thing, because very quickly the situation gets resolved. He kind of says like, you were right, I was in the wrong on this, and they end up going out on a date, and they have the best date ever. And it's Abby Jimenez is really good at chemistry.
Yeah.
So there's immediate chemistry between these two. The way the date progresses and the surprising twists and turns that it take, the way it involves the song Come On Eileen. It's just so much fun. So they have the most amazing date of their lives. But at the end of the date, the woman reveals that she is moving to California. So she tells him, I need you to forget me because I'm moving to California for my family. I can't stay here. And you just opened your vet practice. You can't, we don't even know what this is. It's only been one date. I need you to forget me. So she goes to California. And of course, she can't forget him. He can't forget her. They start communicating again. There's a visit. and then they start this sort of long distance relationship. So, and what's nice about this as well is that sometimes conflicts get thrown into romantic comedies to create a separation, and that doesn't need to happen here because the separation is the conflict that they have. And Xavier reminds me a little bit of you.
I'll kind of take that one. He's a good one.
He's a good one, and he's a good one. And so the other thing is, so when Joel and I first started dating, you ended up taking a job that was based in Miami. And so you were in Miami during the week and then would come back to New York City on the weekends. Right. So we didn't have like the same sort of meet cute, start dating, but there's a separation.
We were dating enough that I actually asked you about doing that.
So that is true. We
talked about it.
So it's a different circumstance, but it was still early in our relationship, and we weren't together during the week, during that point.
18 months, I spent the week in Miami.
Yeah, and so it reminded me a little bit of our relationship during that point, because I think for us, that period also kind of proved, well, I really want to be with this person. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it is. So it struck a lot of personal chords, as all of Abby Jimenez's books do for me. And I loved it. Yeah. So.
I will say in the very beginning, I did warn Greg right in the very beginning, there is a lot of talk of euthanasia on an animal. Keep going. It'll be fine.
And I think Abby Jimenez even says in the beginning of the book,
dog.
Yeah, she's like, the dog doesn't die, the dog will never die. Yeah. So, yeah.
So she's a huge animal activist. So,
yes.
She's done a couple of fun posts on puppy rescues lately.
Yes,
so.
she does.
She's a good person.
See, yeah, really seems like it. If skeletons come out of that closet, I will be devastated.
I know.
So, yeah. So that was my number 6. What is your number
My
6?
next one was really fun. It was Four Squares by Bobby Finger.
Oh.
This was on my list for a long time to read. I want to say Eric Cervini suggested it.
It's possible.
Who is a historian of gay culture. And I just kind of put her down on the side, didn't think about it. And then Greg got home. It's like, oh, look, I got this book.
From the library.
That's what I want to read.
Yeah. So we ended up getting it on audio.
Yeah,
so we could
you read and I listened.
I think I did the audio too.
Did you? Okay.
I think so.
You read and I read. You read and I listened.
So there is something else. Yeah.
It was really good. It's a story of the two men. They meet early in their lives. The book starts early in their lives. And time jumps back and forth to the end. And it's a story of them learning to come together and forming this really beautiful relationship. But it did not start that well.
Yeah. It is another book about chosen family.
Yeah.
We have a theme.
We do.
Yeah.
And, well, I mean, a lot of these came out of Gay Pride Month, too. So
yeah.
It's a really beautiful book and a lot of fun. I thought it ended well. I wasn't sure I was loving it, but I thought it ended well.
Yeah.
It didn't make your top 10?
It might come up again.
Oh, okay.
It might.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Spoiler alert. So yes, I think I probably liked it just a little more than you because it is on my list, but we'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to it again.
I think I just had some better reads.
That's fair. It has been a very good reading year, and I'll talk about why I think I responded to it a little, maybe more.
Okay.
So, so number 5. Number 5 for me is The Correspondence by Virginia Evans, which I listened to. This was another one I really had a back and forth about whether or not I was going to read it in print or listen on audio. And I decided to listen to it on audio. It's an epistolary novel. You have Sybil Van Antwerp, who is the protagonist. She is in her 70s, I believe. She is a huge proponent of writing letters. Always has been. It's her preferred method of communicating outside of like actually talking in person, because it feels personal to her. It feels like the back and forth that you have, it's important to her. But she will email, so some of the correspondence in the book is email. And in the beginning of the book, I've commented with a lot of people who felt sure that they hated her when they started the book. I didn't actually have that experience. I think I immediately got the sense this is one of those people who seems very prickly, does not always think about what she's saying or how she's coming across, but is actually a good person, sort of Man Called Uwe-esque.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that really bears out. Like, there's one of the subplots. There are a lot of different threads going on in these letters. I think halfway through, I even said to you, I don't know how this is all going to wrap up, because in each of the letters and the different characters, there are a lot of threads. There's like a young boy who might be on the spectrum, who feels very isolated and like his parents don't understand, and she has a very supportive relationship with him, and she's one of the people he trusts the most to talk about what his experience of the world is, and she trusts him to talk about things that she doesn't talk about with other people, such as that she's losing her eyesight. There's a thread with her brother, a thread with one of her daughters who's estranged because of various reasons. There's a thread with a customer service agent from a website that is clearly supposed to be a stand-in for like 23andMe. And it starts with she accidentally says some racist things to him, but walks it back to the point where they keep emailing each other, and that it's just, it doesn't feel like it should all work, and yet it does. And the character of Sybil Van Antwerp has really stayed with me since I finished the book. So for that reason, it's this high on the list. And I really enjoyed that book a great deal. So
sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 5.
Number 5, King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby.
Ooh.
I'm a huge S.A. Cosby fan.
Yes.
He is not a romance writer by any means.
Yeah.
He likes these dark noir,
Violent.
I don't want to say criminal, but
they all have a
criminal-ish.
criminal or mystery element in them.
And this is about a man who, his father's dying, and he has to go back to help the family business, and find out that in the family business is cremation. And
King of Ashes. Oh.
But then he finds out his little brother is deep, deep, deep in debt with some really bad people. And it's a little different than some of his others, where they come out ahead, but they come out smarter ahead. And I just thought it was really, I love his writing. I love his storytelling. I love his characters. He just does them really good. I think a lot of his books have come top of my list.
Yeah.
I've done several of them.
They have.
But Razor Blade Tears is by far still one of my best.
Which I finally read last year.
So, good book, King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. I highly recommend. It's fun.
All right, we're at number 4. Number 4 is where Four Squares by Bobby Finger comes into play for me. Okay. So I think, as you said, it's a story about a man who you meet in like 1992. Okay. And he meets somebody who you find out he has a big relationship with. Now, 30 years later in 2022...
Yep. This is 30th birthday to 30th birthday.
Yeah, 30th birthday to 60th birthday. 60th birthday. So, that's the two different timelines that we're in. And then the 1992 one doesn't just stay in 1992. It moves steadily closer to 2022. And you find out, because in 2022, he's living a very lonely, solitary life. The only person, and this isn't a spoiler since it's like chapter 2 of the book, the person that he meets in the bar is not in his life, but that guy's daughter is. But she's moving away. So she's like his only thread to the rest of the world, and she's moving away. She's getting married. She's going to be very busy. So he needs to figure out what he's going to do with himself. And he starts volunteering at a group for elderly gay people who, and he ends up breaking a leg. So he is sort of forced to spend a lot of time with these people. And it's about the found family. It's about what happened over time. And I think what really landed with me, that made me love this book so much, is that a lot of it is also about remembrance and memory and honoring the people who have been a big part of your life and finding ways to keep them with you over time. There's a really beautiful conversation that he has with a man at a dinner party when he finds out the stories of all of the paintings that the man has in his house. Love that scene.
Great chapter.
Love it. There's a wonderful scene that he has with an elderly woman who's a little bit eccentric, and they realize they have a connection. There was a point where she kind of looks at him and says, "We were in the same room and we didn't even know it." And so, but that room was a funeral, and so they knew the same person. So this idea of remembrance and keeping people with you in life and loss and continuing to move on echoes throughout the book in what I think is a very beautiful and resonant way. And, we have been on grief journeys for the last few years. And at the end of last year, 2024, we lost another friend who was very close to us and very dear to us. So when I read Four Squares, I think in March, that was all still very much on my mind. Yeah. So I think that is why it ended up having such resonance with me and why it's so high.
I agree.
On my list. But I also see why it would be number 6 for you.
Because I did really look at my standings today, and it is up there. And a lot of, seriously, our theme has been chosen family in a lot of this.
Yeah.
And I love that in a book because God knows I love my chosen family.
And Four Squares is a good one for chosen family. And I think I just feel like it had so much resonance with me because of that idea of remembrance and keeping people with you that I really couldn't put it any lower than this. So that's just my reaction to it. But I loved it. So What do you have in fourth place?
Number 4, a highly, highly anticipated read for me.
For both of us.
Yes. I loved Don't Cry For Me by...
Right back here. Right here.
By Daniel Black. And so the sequel to it is Isaac's Song by Daniel Black.
This is the book that Forbidden Notebook pushed out of. This was pushed out by Forbidden Notebook. Okay. It was in 10th place until Forbidden Notebook came in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if you've read Don't Cry For Me, it's of a father writing letters to his son of why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
And
that son is estranged from him.
It's very estranged.
Yeah.
Not making apologies, but just understand. Isaac's Song, I anticipated him reading the letters, but it's his grief journey after his father died. And then when you get more into the book, he finds the letters.
Yeah, the letters do come up, but later than you would think.
Yeah. And beautifully written. I've met Daniel Black. I love him. I think he's like a fantastic person. And I've loved both of these books so much. I can't wait to see if he has something else that comes out in this style. But he is just a beautiful writer, and he handles the gay elements too, because he is a gay man, and he handles that really well too, and how the father was estranged from his son because his son was gay.
Yeah.
So he handled it well. I thought it was a beautiful book. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's interesting about Don't Cry For Me and Isaac's Song is it's like a significantly less violent version of Razorblade Tears. All right, we're moving into number 3.
Ooh, I'm getting excited.
So again, I feel like number 3 in particular is where my list starts getting really competitive. Like if you ask me on a different day, the order of my top 3 could end up being very different. Like The Dutch House by Ann Patchett.
I need to read this.
Could be in first place for me on a different one. And part of why this is so resonant for me is that it's a sibling story, and it's a really beautiful sibling story. So you have a brother and a sister. This is actually the sister on the cover. There is a painting of the sister that hangs in the Dutch house, and they commissioned a painter to create that painting for the cover of the book, which I think is so cool. But anyway, they grew up in the Dutch house. It's this sort of rarefied environment. Their father is not a communicator, not very emotional, and their mother leaves. So the brother and the sister are really all that they have for each other. And then the father remarries, another woman comes into the equation, and long story short, the brother and the sister are sort of sent away from the Dutch house. And it holds this spell over both of them for all of the decades that follow as the story continues. And it's a beautiful story about family, about loss and anger and resentment, but it's also about this beautiful sibling relationship and the expectations that they have for each other, and the ties that they have, and the way that relationship changes and stays the same over time. And I just loved it. I had thought before reading this that the book that Ann Patchett should have won a Pulitzer for was Tom Lake. I was wrong. It was The Dutch House, which is all the more infuriating because this was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. It was right there. And it's just such a good book. Such a really beautiful book. And Tom Hanks reads the audio. I have heard people saying they don't like the way he reads the audio. I thought he did a great job because the brother is the one who's actually telling the story. And so it makes sense. The only thing that was a little weird is the way he said that chapter 2. It didn't feel like it matched the Zoo, like chapter 3. And then start talking in a normal voice. That's the only thing that would throw me throughout it. But otherwise, he was a great narrator. And I love this book. So.
I get why. I just spent 2 weeks with you and your siblings.
Yeah.
And I love both those sisters so much. But I love how they love each other and what they do for each other. And so I understand, I get more now why you like these books, Complicated Families.
Yeah.
But when you have siblings that love each other as much as you guys do, I love it.
Yeah, it is. And, my sisters, until I met you, always were my best friends and still are to a large degree. And there is also an element of The Dutch House where, I grew up with unstable parents. So my older sister was the person who was looking out for me the most. And that is the dynamic that this brother and sister have. She's a couple of years older. My sister's only 2 years older than me. But she still and she still does.
And I love it.
And she takes care of you by association. So, that there's an element of that. Like, it's not the same story at all here. And some of the dynamic gets a little twisted toward the end in a very interesting way, but it does remind me of my own sisters. So, yeah. What do you have for number 3?
Mine, I almost didn't read. My Friends by Frederick Bachman. It was a wonderful story of chosen family. Ish. I mean, that's a stretch, but it's in there. So it starts off with this girl who is a photographer, and she wants it. And she has this postcard of this painting, and so she goes into the gallery to see the real painting, and loves it, and is just. But there's something wrong with the painting, and she kind of defaced it with her artistry, and she gets kicked out. Well, she gets kicked out and meets a homeless man in the alley. And she and the homeless man really bond and come together. And they just magnetically just come together. And this isn't like chapter 2, so it's not a spoiler. The homeless man in the alley is the artist that paints the painting.
Twist.
And he's waiting for his business manager to go in there to buy the painting. Because he wants that painting back. Because that painting, he knows he's going to die. So that painting needs to go to somebody who he chooses for it to go to and loves. So the whole storyline is the business manager and the girl on an adventure to get somewhere. It's a little bit, they don't like each other, but they grow together and they grow bonding together, and they really learn about each other and where they go. So you have the story in the present day of these, but you also have the story of the 3 boys who are in the painting and who they are and how they come up through the ranks and their family too.
Oh, interesting.
So absolutely gorgeous book. I love the friendship dynamics, what they do for each other, because one was from a bad home and they really helped him to make sure he goes to college. One was not very good at things and they just pumped him up to be better. And it's a great story of friendship and family and taking care of one another.
And I need to read more Frederick Bachman because so far I have only read Man Called Uwe.
And I don't think I've read a bad one.
I'm pretty sure you've liked everything of his that you've read.
So.
Yeah. So I need to do some catching up.
Just got released. Fantastic book. I loved it.
And you've talked to other people who like Frederick Bachman who have also really loved this book.
Yeah, Lona did. So.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. So yeah, it's a hit.
Yeah. Number two.
Again, like I said, if you ask me on a different day, my top 3 might be in a different order. I really loved The Imagined Life by Andrew Porter. So much. This is an advanced reader's copy that was kindly sent to me by Knopf, and it sounded like a very me book when I heard the description of it. And almost as soon as I picked it up and started reading it, I was like, oh, I think I even told you I was like 30 pages in. I was like, I think I love this. And I did love it. So this book, your protagonist is in the present day. He's separated from his wife and is sort of trying to figure out, he's left his job. He's trying to figure out what he's doing, but he feels like, or starts to, for the first time in his life, think that he's stuck and hasn't processed a lot of things that happened when he was young. So the summer he turned 12 or 11, it's the early 1980s. And in that year, he is living with both of his parents, and his father is up for tenure at the college where he is teaching. And his father is this very brilliant, charismatic, but sort of troubled guy. Like he suffers from like a little bit of depression, and he's becoming a little erratic. So our protagonist is reflecting on that summer, because ultimately what happens in that year is that his father is denied tenure. And after he's denied tenure, he suffers a mental break. And after that mental break, he leaves and is not part of the mother or the son's lives at all through the decades. So now he is trying to finally reckon with this and see if he can find some kind of closure. He doesn't know what closure looks like. He doesn't know if closure is even possible, because he doesn't even know if his father is out there anywhere. So what he does is he goes to people who knew his father back then and starts talking to them about that year and what his father was like and what was going on and why his father was denied tenure. And, there are things like there are people who will tell him, oh, I loved your father, we got along great. And then they'll talk to the next person and say, oh yeah, that person was really jealous of your father and didn't want him to get tenure. So he's trying to unravel almost like a mystery, but it's not really a mystery. And so it's a complicated family story. There's a queer element because, well, I'll let you figure it out. It's so beautifully written and considered. It feels like every word in this book has been carefully chosen. And it's beautiful and wonderful. It reminded me of the writing of John Cheever. And I'm a fan of John Cheever. So to me, that is an incredible compliment. When somebody gave me a gift card for my birthday, and I ordered a copy of a short story collection that Andrew Porter wrote called The Disappeared. And I can't wait to read more of his work, because to me, this is a tremendous author discovery. And I cannot wait to read more, because this has like lodged a place in my soul and I love it. So that's my number 2. What is your number 2?
My number 2 is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I think this ranked higher for me because it gave me really good feels.
Yeah. She's good at that.
Yeah. And I love Xavier because he's a vet. And I love the whole aspect of taking care of animals all the way through the book. Mm-hmm. But also how Xavier is in love with this woman that he barely knows, and they're trying to make the long-distance relationship work. But the reason the girl had to move home is her mother has dementia.
Yeah.
And the family's having a hard time dealing with how to take care of mom. Mm-hmm. Grandma's in there taking care of mom, but they can't do it alone. And I really loved how the family pulls together to take care of it. Mm-hmm. Well, Xavier is on the perimeter here, but how he steps in to help everybody take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. Because when you're taking care of somebody, you forget to care for yourself. Mm-hmm. And he is the caretaker of kind of everybody around him.
It's Joel.
More so for the girl he loves. But he takes care of everybody.
Yeah.
It's a very dynamic book on caring for people. Because I know when we took care of our friend Leon, we made sure we took care of each other.
Yeah.
But it's just really hard when you put all your energy into one, you forget other things. So
yeah,
I think that's what really struck me the most about it.
Yeah, and I see that. It is like Abby Jimenez does not miss.
Yeah.
And
all this sad little story around here, there's a cute little romance in there.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons I really like her books, because the romance is great, but it never feels like empty calories, because there's always, all of the books have something serious that these characters are dealing with.
I almost want to say the romance is second fiddle to what's happening in the book.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
And it's all of the characters, like, part of the challenge that they face is figuring out, like, well, I have this huge thing going on in my life, but I also just met somebody that I like. How do these two things exist together? And I mean, is that fair?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And not feel guilty about trying to enjoy this when you need to take care of this.
Yeah. Like, there's one of the books, yours truly has the female protagonist's brother is in kidney failure and needs a kidney. So she's dating this guy, but also worried about her brother and what's going to happen to him. Yeah, that's Abby Jimenez. They don't feel manipulative.
No.
It feels honest and true to life, and the characters are so well drawn, and just, yeah.
I don't find anything unbelievable. Like, a lot of the romance I read is like, oh, yeah, right. But I don't feel anything unrealistic in a lot of her books.
Yeah, the weirdest thing is in Part of Your World, there are rumors that the town has something kind of like a magical element. So one of the characters wants to leave the town, and there's like suddenly a storm. And you don't know if it's magical, because like one of the characters will be like, oh, the town didn't want you to leave. That's like as close as she gets to anything outlandish in any of her books. So yeah, total delight. Are you ready for number one?
Only if I can join you.
You can join me. So we were comparing notes before we started filming so I could pull all of the books that we have, and realized we have the same number one for the year so far. What is it?
Blackwood's Blue Skies by Eowyn Ivey.
I told you in February that this book was going to be my whole personality for 2025.
And she's had 3 big novels come out, and I've read all 3. I loved all 3. This is my favorite. She did The Snow Child,
which is the only other one that I've read so far. I think The Snow Child might still be my favorite. You know, sometimes you can't get past your first, and that was my first Eowyn Ivey, and so part of me feels like that is still my favorite, but it's really close, because this is an incredible book as well.
Yeah, and it's funny, when we were at the show last year, a friend went up and said hi to her, and it's like, we don't know who she is.
Well, so, I knew who she was because I'd heard of her. She was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize for The Snow Child.
We didn't read any of her
But
stuff.
I hadn't read it, yeah. And if we could go back now,
oh my God,
we would have fanboyed out
hard.
So hard, yeah.
Would have scared her a little.
Probably, yes.
And she lives in the mountains of Alaska with bears.
Yeah.
So she would have had 2 bears after her.
She'd be like, again.
Great book.
Yeah.
I thought this was well written. The characters.
Oh, so good. She writes such good characters. Yeah. So basically, The Snow Child is a novel that takes the sort of fairy tale myth of the Snow Child and plays with that and incorporates it into a very realistic, real-world story. And this does a lot of the same. So it's back in Alaska, but it takes Beauty and the Beast as its sort of inspiring point. And I think one of the things I really like about it is that it has a very palpable love and appreciation for fairy tales, but Eowyn Ivey is also very deliberately puncturing the notion of fairy tales and a lot of the lessons that can be taken from them or applied to them that might not actually be healthy in the real world. So in this, you have your protagonist is the young girl. In the 1980s?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a child. Her mother is this very independent woman. They're both very poor. Her mother's working as a waitress in a restaurant and is sort of perpetually on the verge of losing everything. Losing all of her money, possibly losing her daughter to social services, and little reluctant to accept help from other people. And she meets a man who's a big loner in the town, has these scars across his face, and he doesn't relate to other people very much. But one day he comes in and he sits in the bar section of the restaurant, and she goes in to wait on him, and he starts kind of doing that. Occasionally he'll come in, he'll sit in the bar area so he's not around the other people, and they form this relationship. And the mother decides to take her daughter and move up into the mountain to live with this man. And the story also jumps more to the present when the little girl is now an adult and talks about what happened. And she struggles to find, I have a theme as well, people looking for closure and wondering what that means or what that looks like and if it's possible to get it. Does that seem like a good...
Absolutely. There's a mythical side to this.
It is based on Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, but which is not our thing, but she makes it work.
She really does.
I mean, I would read more mythical stuff if it worked as good as this does. And I thought how the little girl she loved, he wasn't her father, not really a stepfather, but a male figure in her life. And she loved him through and through, knowing everything about him.
Yeah, and I think that it's one of the nice things about her mother and her seeing him, because he is someone who is dealing with some stuff and has some trauma about the world and the people in it. And she and her mother see that about him. Yeah. But the story is so much more complicated than just that. And it's hard to talk about why it's more complicated
without spoiling.
And that, but I will say that's where the puncturing of the fairy tale comes in.
I truly believe none of you will be disappointed in this book.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that's so great about Eowyn Ivey is that, yes, she plays with fantastical elements, but the story feels so firmly grounded in reality.
Yeah.
The characters feel so real that it almost gets confusing, because it feels like everything is in the real world, and yet there's this magical element that is so out there. And I really didn't know how the Snow Child was going to work.
Yeah.
Because it eventually was going to have to make a decision about whether or not something was real or magical, and yet it's just so beautiful. And I still think about the characters in that book. Months later, I'm still thinking about the characters in this book.
I think about this book a lot.
So. Yeah. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. And I think the reception to the book has been a little bit smaller than I personally would have liked.
And it's signed. We love that.
Yeah. So I would love to see this book start to make a big comeback in the second half of the year and show up on some prize lists and best of lists and all of that, because I think it's what Eowyn Ivey would deserve. I think she should be front and center for the Pulitzer conversation for next year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's turning out that way, but the way the Pulitzer race is shaping up for this year is a whole other conversation.
I don't know. I've seen some books on your shelf over there that I probably would not read, but I'd read this twice.
Fair. That's fair. Especially in recent years.
More than one.
But, yeah, it's a wonderful book. I really hope that it makes a very strong showing in end-of-year lists for prizes and just general best stuff.
It doesn't have to be the big prize, but I want her to be recognized for this.
Yes. At least be in the running.
Again, I think it's an absolute gorgeous book.
Yeah.
Well written, great characters.
She did it again.
Recommend.
Yeah, and I need to read her third book. You have already read To the Bright Edge of the World, which is her second book. It's the middle child between the Snow Child was the first. to The Bright Edge of the World and then this. So I've read the first and the third, but not the second.
Bright Edge of the World is good. It's a little bit more mystical and with animals, and but it still had a fun read. So I don't think you'd be disappointed.
No. So
well, there we go.
You know, we had some differences, a lot of similarities, but they were in different places. But I was so tickled that we had the same number one. So
let's see what happens at the January.
Yeah,
when we come back, is it still going to be the same?
Yeah, I honestly think it's going to be surprising if some of these books get pushed out of my top 10. I will say, the book I'm reading right now, if it sticks the landing, it could slide into my top 10, but I haven't finished it.
Yeah, so you're really liking it.
I'm loving it.
If I do much, it looks like 3 Days in June, The Lilac People, and Dark Wild Shore would get pushed out. So
yeah,
I really like them, but if I read some outstanding stuff, won't be a problem.
And if the first half of the year is any indication, there's a lot of good to come. So, yeah.
July has been horrible reading for me, so...
And I have had a mix. There were 2 books I didn't like, and 1.5 so far that I've loved. So, we'll see. So, I would love to hear what your favorite book of the year is so far. If you want to share your list.
Please do.
Please do. As always, we really appreciate your time. We will be back. Until next time. Happy reading.
Happy baking.